Here we go. It's Nass versus Toxic in the Arm the Rebels quarterfinal. This is Arm the Rebels 6. And 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6 are all 1v1s. But 5e, or the fifth one was a 2v2. We got Nass versus Toxic. Nass coming in as the favorite, surely, against Mr. Toxic. But last time we watched Toxic on stream, he was taking down another one of the players that everybody has as number 1 in the world right now, which is Diaz. Diaz was playing on EU servers, and Toxic was able to take him down. I think Diaz was playing fairly well, so I don't think it's necessarily a EU ping copium, but tell you what, Nass probably has sole right to number 1 right now, and he's going to try and prove exactly why as he pre-flips through this one and just booms it into the net. Talking about Mr. Diaz, that is something that Diaz is quite the expert at as well, as Nass going to be denied the second goal by Toxic, and he'll bring this down on top of his car. Nass slowly shadowing in net, and yet somehow his aura was able to stop Toxic from even really shooting it on target. Toxic didn't even give it a real chance. We'll see if he does the same thing again here. He lost the ball at the top of his car, is falling too far forward, so no choice but to try and go for the early flick. I don't know if that's necessarily something he was trying to set up or just an adjustment after a bit of a mistake on the carry, but man, Nass, he has perfected offense from every angle, and has always been known as one of the best defenders. Now an air triple reset, able to pop this ball up to get himself the second goal. He's currently averaging, you know, the highest percentage of sick goals per goal scored in this game. Can he make every single one of them be a banger? Probably not. I'm sure he's going to take some open nets here and there, as Toxic actually cannot land outside the net. Has to use the last bit of boost to play it out around Nass. So he's going to give Nass another possession. He's going to go to the sky again. Toxic pre-jumps it. He has started to realize what Nass is doing here and is able to intercept it. Now this seems much more intentional from Toxic, letting that ball drift off the top of his car a little bit more towards the front end of it before getting into the flick. Helps give it that extra bit of power, but Nass is still able to save it. A demo, Nass on the respawn will not be enough. Toxic follows it up and keeps the deficit to only 1. Toxic kickoff goal, gonna tie it right back up. Nass's goals may have been exciting, but they're gonna be worth just as much as these two quick ones from Toxic. As Toxic gets another possession, Nass gonna back off. This is not the best setup from Toxic. Fortunately, Nass is really passive, allows Toxic the time to turn it into a shot attempt, but still a save that Nass sends quickly back into the orange half. He decides to play this around Toxic, who is chasing him down, and will tap it on target for a third. Toxic trying to pre-flip back to make up for what was a poor kickoff. Just barely not able to clip the ball. He tried to air roll around and set up the flip to intentionally give the ball a bit of a pop. Not easy to do, and he just barely wasn't able to do it. Toxic air jolt from the back wall, right around ceiling heights. What a shot on the reset. It seemed like he was going to fall far from the net, but he was able to give it a ton of extra power, and even though it was about to cross the goal line on the ground, usually not something you want to do with your aerial shots, it was such a surprise in power that Nass was not positioned correctly. He was slightly out of the net, expecting the ball to land short and be able to, you know, play into a quick hit. Had he backed up a little bit, he maybe could have done the same thing with that goal line shot, but Toxic got it just high enough above him, and now a kickoff goal to get himself a 4-4 game. Toxic, once upon a time, we did a little player interview or a player questionnaire on who had the best kickoff, who had the best aerial game, etc. Toxic winning alongside a few other people. This looks like a DC from Nass. Yeah, I would agree. It does look like he DC'd. I'll go ahead and pause now. He's back. Okay. Unpause. Take goal off. You can give. I think rules are that whatever. That I think that's better. Than me putting my hand in the cookie jar and changing the score. Let these guys handle it like gentlemen on the field. Toxic decides he does not want the disconnect goal. Toxic trying to flick top right. It's again letting that ball roll off on his dribbles right in the moment he wants to set up the shot. Tempo is indeed playing today. He's playing against Atto. The backward hat Dominus will join the field once again. Toxic caught out. Nass popping this one up as Toxic tries to stay close to the play, and as soon as he recognizes Toxic's not going to dive on this ball, put some power on the volley and has himself the lead again. Are you trying to flex that you have Tempo on your friends list? Oh, no big deal, but I just couldn't help but notice that Tempo was in a private match on my friends list, so I figured he must be playing in Arm the Rebels. Oh, me? Oh, yeah, I'm just friends with pros. It's really not a big deal. Toxic, what a nice air dribble. Nah, just Discord. Hey, either way. Toxic getting that extra touch as he flips through the ball, knowing that the air dribble's not complete just because he's flipped. Still have to use that bit of boost to stick with it. Toxic gonna drop this one down right onto Nass, which is a big mistake because Nass should have the long shot, and he does. Dr. Feer married him because of his Rocket League friends list. Yeah, of course. I like to brag about my friends list all the time. Why are we saying blabbering in the chat? That doesn't seem like an appropriate emote. Toxic down one with 20 seconds left to go. He's been able to equalize, but every time he does, it's Nass who retakes the lead. Toxic. This air dribble denied, and the boost grab probably ends the game. Nass just going to throw one to the net, and Toxic, pretty impressive save, but only buys him just a little bit of time. Game number one is going to be going to Nass. He's trying to get himself another Arm the Rebels victory. He has gone through Arm the Rebels before without losing a single game. Did he sweep in the first round? No, Edgeby actually got a game, so already Edgeby has stopped him from having one of his peak performances. Toxic, I'll be honest, I was tabbed out. I didn't even see how Toxic got this. Oh, Nass didn't go to the kickoff because he knew he had won. GG, game number one goes to Nass. Thank you, Fifi Wee Wee. I think that should be a timeoutable offense. Nass and Toxic, game number two. Nass going to score a kickoff goal to open it up. Put himself right back on top. He has spent pretty much the entire time in the lead. And it's looking like he's going to pick up where he left off. Nass. Wall to air dribble. Nice and slow and fairly unthreatening, which is why Toxic just waits on the ground. ultimately able to make the save. He switched up his ball carry now. Instead of it being so far in front of his car, brought a little bit more high, ready to pop it over the top of Nass, but didn't do so early enough. Toxiic is chilling right on that corner of the ceiling where it seems like he could barely hold on. Nass is just slowing it down. It's so interesting. We see Jack slow the game down as slow as Nass is doing right now, but Nass is slowing it down while incorporating the aerial game a lot more. And it's just waiting to pick apart his defenders. He has done Toxiic dirty yet again, and he's got a 2-0 lead. Nass turned off his stream. Oh, he was... You think he lost the game because he was streaming against Edgebeat? Kickoff goal. Scored again for Nass. Toxiic went to go race for a corner boost he was not going to be able to get to. Oh, did he just turn it off? Was he live still when he DC'd moments ago? Nass bailing out of this poorly set up air dribble, and yet it still is going to work out for him because Toxiic, who has so much respect for them, felt the need to go to ceiling height to try and intercept it. And so the best he could get was a save that just tapped it right back to Nass. Nass now dancing in defense, flying to the ceiling and back down, and ends up being in the perfect spot, of course. He gets a counterattack goal. We saw 9 saves for Nass, 17 shots to like 8 or something in the last round. So Toxiic had way more shots, but it didn't matter. Nass, too solid on defense and too efficient on offense. Every time he was shooting, it was going in. Toxiic was going for probably the full field psycho, I would think, but instead sent it straight into the ceiling. And Nass will appropriately punish. Pretty decent recovery from Toxiic to try and make up for the mistake. Of course, Nass gets the reset off the 50 and uses that to flip back to the ball. Light work for a guy like Nass, who is now at 5-0. No jump kickoff from Nass is going to be the first mistake in this game that gets him scored on. He just no jumped it and went straight at it. I don't know if he's expecting a delay. That is maybe, you know, the right counter to a delay from Toxiic, but Toxiic did not delay. Dunks it right over the top of him for his opening goal. Nass, first touch off the wall is way too strong. Puts the ball way out ahead of him, and so you see him instantly pre-flip underneath it to catch it. To catch right back up to it. It's such a fast air dribble before Toxiic can't even realize what's going on. He's having to try and make a goal line 50, and Nass is prepared for that. Gonna make it 6-1. Nass out of the sidewall, dribble to the top left denied by Toxiic. Nass gonna drop a what a save and flick it over him to make it 7-1. He's got time to drop what a saves with the process of getting 7-1 victories. There's 2 minutes and 51 seconds left. Toxiic has had enough. He's ready to go to game 3 as Nass is putting on a clinic here and Arm the Rebels. Like the French players, you could definitely say France is, you know, always creating brand new prodigies. It's the FIFA E team for Morocco that seems to be holding it down. Drally, Nass, and Itachi. I don't think we've seen Morocco can play MENA RLCS, right? For a while, Morocco couldn't. Like if you were playing in Morocco, you couldn't play, I thought. So that certainly doesn't help. So all the Moroccans who are playing well are all living in Europe. What a shot from Nass. Toxiic instantly has to drop the nice one. All the way up to ceiling height where Nass gets the reset. Seems like he's going to be taking it down and gets a great flip underneath the ball to give it so much extra height. This has just got to seem so frustrating to play against. Everything seems to go his way. Toxiic actually got the best possible spawn, and Nass could have scored. Nass has now entered free play mode, it would seem, where he's like, yeah, I could score this one, but I'd rather try and maybe fake Toxic and see if I can get him to miss. And because that'll be more exciting for me. All right, how about the DS challenge? Try and make a point. Air dribble from the back wall. Your fellow top 1v1er farms these all day. Nass definitely was going to get it into the net high enough, but they'll get scored on because of it. The finish was purely a get to the goal line type finish as opposed to a powerful beat the defender type finish. How many completely different French teams could potentially win a FIFA E if they competed? Probably could make 3 sets of French teams maybe without thinking about it too hard. That would have a chance at winning the FIFA E World Cup. I mean, you got to think, yeah, you got to be able to at least make 3 that could all win. Third one might be a little bit less likely. Look at Nass go. How does he pinpoint this top left? We'll watch it from Toxic POV. POV, look up POV. Can we get lookups in the chat? This has definitely been a lookup series so far. Nass up in the air. What can you do? What can you do except look up? Oh my goodness, he's even convinced Toxic to own goal. Toxic trying to get that perfect dash recovery as he touched the ball, didn't get it, and then he launches Nass at the ball and then follows it up and scores it. What team do you think will sign Nass next? I thought the most recent rumor is that Ninjas in Pajamas are looking for the Itachi Nass Oski team. Right, that's the rumored team. Nass steals this one away. Actually didn't score. Did score it. Of course he did. Oh, he's just got the Midas touch, man. Everything he does is somehow perfect. Your 3 French teams will be some combination of these 9. Monkey Moon and Zen. That's it. You can make 3 different teams out of just those 2. Look up, no please, I have a family. That is playing against Nass right now, for sure. Need to update your emote? What is this? Nah, we don't need that one. It's a tough go of it in the past couple minutes for Toxic. Nass has looked crazy good. Toxic, a goal to keep himself in it. Or I should say mentally in it. I don't know how much he's in this game. Mix up on the kickoff. Turning 90 degrees. 50 in it with the top of your car, and then I think it was still a wave dash kickoff, right? Toxic then dashed after. So it's like a variation of the wave dash kickoff instead of using the front of your car. That is going to be GG's with 2 minutes left to go. Nass, way too good. Toxic drops the good luck, and Nass is out of here. 3-0 sweep. Nass looking quite good in the Arm the Rebels. But we got ourselves 2 minutes. So you know what that means. The chat must be rewarded. Okay, who cares about the ball? Let's just get the pogo. Anyways. GG's. Nass gets a sweep.